Thank you. My name is Geeta Nai, and I'm founder of Connect to Greatness. I'm intuitive coach, and I help women turn their big dreams into reality.
Nice. Good.
But first of all, I would like to thank you all for being here. So please, give yourself a big round of applause. We all work on shifting our perspective and how the universe shifts with us. We all get caught up in our stories. We believe and we think we are the stories. It's when those stories take shape of its own, that's when life sucks. We all walk around in this little bubble. Inside the bubble is human mind. The layer outside is conscious mind. That's where we are awake. And this is the difference between us and animals. So where we can use our mind, body and spirit to create the life we want, and for others, and for animals, because they can't do this. We are here to create the life for everyone and live in harmony. The deeper layer of awareness is your subconscious mind. It's like a computer program. It's holding all the memories, all your emotions, everything you went through since you were born. And all these affects your life, whatever you do in your life, what you like, what you dislike, what you're capable of, what inspires you, what you hate, everything is stored in this subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is like a river flowing all the time. But if you don't direct it to somewhere, you will flow in the path of least resistance. For some, it's a negative path. We all have bad habits that affects us, and we annoy people without realizing, consciously or unconsciously. So raise your hands up if you've got bad habits. My dear dad, who loved life, he enjoyed his life so much, but he had this bad habit of saying, I have a massive family, but there's no one there for me. He was so proud of speaking about his family, but he had this habit of he was sick of hearing. He was ill for a very long time in UK. He wanted to travel. So when he starts getting better, the doctor gave him permission to travel. He couldn't wait to pack his bag, and off he comes to India. He was so happy. But when he came to India, he became ill. And suddenly he became so ill. He suffered so much. All his family was in UK. And we still feel that we weren't there for him. I was in Mauritius that time, and I still feel that I should have been with him. It's so sad that he created this from his bad habit. We all have bad habits. We all say things like, I want to study this, but I'm not good enough. Or the other person is better looking than me. He or she is doing better than me. We're always comparing ourselves. The inner chatter in our mind. The more you shout out, shut up, shut up, shut up. But does it work? It gets even louder and louder and louder. It's like an uninvited friend. Pops in whenever it feels like. So if you are having negative thoughts, probably because you have a programmed subconscious mind that works for you, in a way against you, it's not your fault. It's not your fault by default. There is a conflict going on between your conscious mind and unconscious mind. We are battling against ourselves. And the inner chatter tells us what to do, and we take action on that, consciously or unconsciously, and that affects our life big time. But please remember, it's not your fault. When you were a little kid, the time you were a baby, having this belief, limitation put on you, you must learn how to clear them. You must learn how to release them. People spend years to program their subconscious mind. And I could help program in short while. I help women turning stress into success. My clients are these women who are in relationship. They can't communicate, they cannot connect to their partner or their children because they're blaming themselves. There's something wrong with them. They think that I'm not better than the other person, I'm bad, whatever's going in their head, they're blaming themselves. And there are these women, single women and single mothers who are struggling day in, day out, making ends meet. Especially those mature women. They haven't got no friends. They haven't done any job in their life. All they've done, all their life is look after their family. And now, kids are grown up, left home, partner, deceased, divorce, separation. They're feeling lost and lonely. They've got no one to talk to. They're talking to their cats or dogs. They can't talk back to them. They're given up. And I want to help these women. There is so much you can do. Do not give up. There is hope. You could do so much if you use your mind, body, and spirit to reprogram your subconscious mind. It doesn't take that long. And create the dreams you want, because we all are creators. That's what we do, we create. We are all seeds of greatness. Every single one of us has seeds of greatness inside us. But most people's seed is buried so deep that they don't know how to turn that supposed to be? Who are we? Who are we supposed to be? Just ask yourself, who are we? Our true self is true spirit, true nature, creative spirits, that's who we are. Knowing the truth and be there and take that path, no matter what obstacles are in your way, because we are here to create. I love to offer free 30 minutes intuitive reading to anybody who seriously want to connect to their greatness. All they need to do is fill out the form, put the details, contact details, and I will send you through to a short application form. We will see if you can fit to fit, and then we could make an appointment for intuitive reading. We were all designed for accomplishment. The greatness is a road towards the unknown. So thank you. My time is up.
Hello everybody, my name is Shireen Abdulraki. I'm from Cairo, Egypt, and I'm very happy that you're all here today. So just being here in this room today in this session just shows that you're ready to shift your perspective. So what is perspective? It's your point of view on things, how you see the world. It's a way of, your attitude towards everything. You can't change the things that happen to you, but you can change how you look at things and how you react. So to shift your perspective simply means to adopt a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at things, and looking at a particular topic. So for example, when you're fixed on solving a problem, this fixation comes from the fact that you're just so focused on that way of thinking, your typical routine way of thinking, that you're not seeing the obvious alternatives around you. But you can change that pattern of thinking by trying to shift your perspective, as what we're all trying to do here today. For example, as we grow up and we move on in life and we strive and have ambition to go and do our thing in the world and thinking this is what we desire, it's really all more about our ego. But yet ambition keeps growing as we go along, and some people find themselves not satisfied. And this lack of satisfaction comes from the fact that you're not really aware with what you want in life. And it sometimes happens that you reach a rock bottom in that point of life, and you feel you need to do something different. You need to reach somewhere deeper and find more meaning and purpose in your life. So instead of letting life be trying to be about control and getting ahead, I think you should sit down and think how you really want to go with the flow of life and allow life to live you instead of you living life. We all know that change is a constant, and in business and in life, you either embrace it or deny it, but you can't really change it. Change is going on, right? When we were all first created, from birth to age 9 months, we basically do not have any control. Why does that have to change? If you just let the universe do its thing, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be passive. It just means that you want to change how you approach life. It's moving from just having ambition and strive and control to finding more meaning and then purpose in your life. And it's sort of like shifting your lens and how you see things. I'm not saying let it all be pink, but just having a different outlook and being able to take in other points of view around you. And we can't change the inevitable, and we can't change how other people behave, but we can just look inside and see how we can change our own attitudes about life and how we react. And that's the only thing really in our control. Because life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. So perspective brings along mindfulness and compassion and empathy in your relations, whether in your personal life or in business. And a lot of research shows that the brain continues to change in response to your experience. Your life is basically the mirror of your thoughts and your beliefs and your main dominant way of thinking. Whether you realize it or not, you are creating your reality through your thought power. And when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change. It's not easy to imagine that the most happy or sad or emotional moments in your life are really an illusion created in your mind. And more surprising is the idea that everyone can create the reality they choose. And how is that? Well, it's the power of our thoughts. Most people don't realize that, and even science is now starting to prove this. And it's nothing that what we expect, basically, is what we create in our mind. For example, when you look at a page and you're reading and there are images and words, and this is really being recorded in your mind, but at the same time you might be going through a certain emotion or you have a thought at that moment, and it gets recorded in your mind, and that becomes your consciousness, what you've created for yourself. And it's all, our thoughts are what create our reality. So you create your own universe by what you perceive. And it's really all specific to you, different from each one of us. So bringing that all to the business side, in your business, it's also easy to change your perspective. And you can turn the most obvious failure into a success, as my colleague mentioned earlier. You can also do the opposite, but let's focus on the success. So to shift your business mindset, you can try to understand the situation better and how you can overcome the obstacles that you face in your everyday life. For example, where I come from in Egypt, we recently had currency devaluation in the past couple of years, and it's really been devastating. A lot of people have had to, reconsider things in their business. Some have even closed down. Others have chosen to redirect their business. For example, those who were involved in importation have been strongly affected, and some have started to think how they can manufacture locally in order to overcome such an obstacle. So this is just a very simple example about how you can change the perspective about how you see things in your business. So you think of your business more of a marathon than a sprint race. It's not what's happening right now. It's what you think of ahead and plan and try to adjust with the situation and obstacles and bumps that you get along the way by stopping and catching your breath and moving on to the next stride. That's the most important thing, is to control how you react to the situation. So for true transformation to really occur, it's a mindset perspective shift. It's a pivot. And pivot thinking is really, changing you can change your target customer, you can change your technology that you use, you can change the business practice. For example, a company that was making virtual reality goggles, what they use in games, they started to use the same idea, but in a car manufacturing. The designers were using this and helping to improve their design and lowering their cost. So it was just an idea of how to reuse your already existing product. Also a technology company that produces tracking devices to research animals. So a lot was being used in the scientific research, and then they thought, well, we can use this for dementia and Alzheimer's patients to help the police locate lost or missing patients. So it was simply adding a small dimension to what you already have. And so just very simple examples, but to get us thinking. And generally speaking, entrepreneurs tend to have a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. But this is also something that we can learn, each one of us, and how to expand our horizons by just changing three things: deconstruct, evolve, and persevere. So by deconstructing or breaking down your problems or challenges that you face every day or obstacles into smaller tasks simply simplifies the way that you absorb a certain reality in your everyday business. And evolving and learning from your mistakes and persisting in the face of these obstacles. You don't give up from the first problem you face, you're moving on. So this is all really going on in your mind while you're working and not just focused on that one obstacle and how to get out of it. And innovation really takes on different forms, and it's changing the way we look at things. Another example, in the US, they were studying how to, in the education system, how to change the cafeterias for students, and it was going to cost like millions to revamp the rooms. And they decided that, well, why don't we try to do something different? And with the new trend of food trucks, they thought to introduce food trucks instead of renovating an entire canteen or a cafeteria area, which would cost millions. And this would allow the students to have a more comfortable and casual and cool, trendy atmosphere. A casual setup would encourage people to have hot meals and more healthy food, and it would cost less. And in introducing innovative ideas to solve problems. Now, all of you are heads of businesses or departments where you work, and you go through a lot every day. People have, people coming in and going out, and accounts thriving, others not. Many things happen, and most of it you do not have any control over. But you always have control over your own perspective, how you view the world, and how you react to it, how you bounce back from these setbacks. It's really all up to you. How you want to change, you have to have the decision and choice to change your life personally inside, and to go ahead and change your business as you go along and learn from the situation happening around you. I would like to tell you I'm a founder of Beauty of Life, which is a new project that helps people to deal with everyday stress by being able to see beauty in life. I invite you to check the Facebook or Instagram account of Beauty of Life Project. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you both. You provided the scaffolding for my presentation, and my job is 10 times easier. Good afternoon. My name is Abby Naira, and I'm here with the New Mexico State University delegation, coming from Las Cruces, New Mexico, United States of America. So there are a wealth of things to learn in this strangely large but insulated microcosm that is academia. But one of the most edifying and soul-sustaining things were learned on the evenings when I sat next to a lake or a river, ready to literally jump off the ship, drop out of college, find a Canadian part-time lumberjack, part-time biking man, and elope with him and go raise alpacas in Peru, just ready to give up. And these evenings of staring into the water and its interaction with the earth nurtured an entirely different dialogue. One more meditative, where rather than trying to stop this natural torrent of thoughts that human beings are so capable of having and so apt to succumb to, I needed to change my relationship with the thoughts and not trying to stop them. The human condition will not allow us to ever stop the thoughts. That's what makes us so beautifully cerebral, intelligent, and makes us what we are. And so I'd like to take a moment to ask everyone, and please feel free to participate or just simply observe. Just take a moment to roll your shoulders up and back here down your spine, maybe taking in the biggest inhale that you take it probably all day. Just taking some time to expand your chest, making room for the heart. And I'd also like to make room to build a bridge. So, eyes open or closed, completely up to you. Picture yourself in the middle of a river, surrounded by a rush charging all around you. And the only thing keeping you upright is this inexplicably human instinct to dig your soles and heels into the riverbed, upon which so much of your reality is based. From there, you take slow but deliberate steps forward, blinking, squinting, burrowing at the oncoming rush, trying to read its direction, its intention, and whatever else it might carry in its steady current. Every so often, you got caught in sudden bursts of energetic streams. Maybe you see some debris float by. Maybe you see a tree branch float by, maybe you get hit in the face by a barracuda, true story. Maybe you get hit by a boat. These are all things that you are surrounded by, immersed by, but it's all of the very life that sustains you as much as it challenges you. You can barely breathe from this vantage point, so you decide you need to shift your perspective. Now, looking up, either at the possibilities or screaming, asking when is this drowning going to stop, you see that there's room for a bridge. You decide you can build one, just above you. Now, struggling against the force of water, you make it to one edge of your river and then the other, digging into the earth with your feet, your hands, anything you can fashion into a tool to make a clear foundation, eventually hauling and launching yourself up each stone you place, adding more to its arch and its height but the most sturdy foundational stones, your rocks, your grounding values and beliefs that you found sitting at the beds and banks of the rivers you feed. You build a bridge just tall enough to separate you from the oncoming torrent of life that both sustains and challenges you. You look down. You take the longest, slowest inhale you've taken, seemingly ever, finally able to fully breathe. You see your reflection, peering up at you from your river, and it's teeming. You and that river are filled with so much life, and perhaps for the first time, you can actually see how immense all of it is, reaching, touching others and their river paths, rather than just suffocating under its equally immense gravity and force. You see how much you throw in, how much each stream carries, each convoluted confluence of every decision you've ever made, crossing paths and maybe combining into entirely new ones, feeding into your ecosystem and the renewed burst of energy that all at once both sustains and challenges you. Beautiful breathing, everyone. It's all as much a part of you as you are a part of that stream. After all, water is life, and in large part, we are like 60% water. So all the same, looking down, it's still just a reflection, a living manifestation of your force, your presence, your gravity, but still separate from the truest depth of thoughts, feelings, actions, reactions, relationships with others, relationships with yourself. Your entire universe is reflected in that force. Now, it's uncomfortable and it seems regressive, but it's worth the time to dig into your very foundations. A realization that shook me to my core that really shifted so many of my own perspectives was to teach, or rather to treat, my emotional wounds exactly like I do my physical wounds. It doesn't matter, say that you have a loved one, it doesn't matter how much you love that person. If that person has wounds that they haven't set right, if they have bones that they haven't set right immediately, if there are wounds that he left to leave infected, or maybe they tried to slap a small, literally social Band-Aid onto that huge gaping wound, it's not going to help it heal correctly. And so it doesn't matter how much I love that person, how good my intentions are, how pure my soul is. Tiptoeing around those wounds, if I accidentally brush against that wound, it's going to hurt like hell. And there's nothing worse that hurts more than seeing that your loved ones hurt you and that they gave you that kind of pain. So it's worth the time to dig into the foundations, carefully, intentionally, mindfully, patting down the earth that will sustain anything capable of growth, most befittingly you. Trees or bridges both experience growth that isn't necessarily linear or hierarchical. It's multidimensional and flexible. That which can bend more is less susceptible to break. And it does not by any means imply that you're too soft or weak in constitution. If anything, the ability to be flexible around circumstances, yet still stand strong and upright when the torrent fades, is as much of an indication of foundational integrity and genuine strength as it gets. Trees do it. Those massive sequoias that still sway at the top and at the outer reaches of their most ambitious branches, while the roots stand strong in the fertile earth below it, they still wave. And so do bridges. Those built too rigidly are the first to fall when the earth quakes and shifts at our foundations. On that dry riverbed, I learned to eat in order to fuel and nurture my body so it could exercise and do literally the only thing that it's designed for, which is to keep me alive. And rather than exercising in order to earn my right to eat. At the edge of a small lake, I learned that people don't get old and then sick. They get sick and then their bodies feel the age. On a pilgrimage to build two cultures, I learned that to mobilize any sort of change you want to see in the world around you, you have to acknowledge the needs and cares of those who hurt you, unintentionally or not, as much as those who support you. We all make up this world we exist in, embodying every shade of humanity and its conditions. So knowing how the motor works inside every mechanism you encounter is knowing more of the system itself and how it drives us all. The human mind is a beautifully perceptive and adaptive mechanism, and it's the most powerful that we have. So truly, I hope that no matter the direction and force in which the universe we embody shifts, it guides you to spaces, time, matter, energy needed to step out, even for a breath, to fully perceive the enormous, complex, beautiful worlds you each have created, making up this universe we grow up and out with. Thank you.
Thank you.
session